Is your go-to karaoke song "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me"? So is George's. Roll the music.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Butterscotch Rewatch. I am Katie, the Gen X mom, and with me is...
Lynn, the Gen Z daughter.
And we are going to go over The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. Finally, this would be Ireland's favorite movie of all time. She
Of
can
all time.
pretty much recite it from start to finish. And we felt that it was time. I literally texted her.
It's like so bad because this is a movie that we can't watch with other people. We literally put it on when they all came out over for my birthday party, and we were just reciting the entire movie like before the scenes would even play. And I could just read the room that everybody was just like, can we just go? Like, this is so bad. Like, get away from us. But I finally got the text from my mom literally saying, it's time. And I knew exactly what it meant.
All right, so let's get into it. The Wedding Singer. This was made in 1998. It does star Adam Sandler as Robbie, Drew Barrymore as Julia, Christine Taylor as Holly, Ellen Covert as Sammy, and Matthew Glave as Glenn Gulia. It takes place in 1985, and it opens up with a wedding.
Shocking. Yeah, so we open up and it's one of the best opening scenes ever. It's the You Spin Me Round song. It's just amazing. And we meet Robbie, who is the wedding singer, and he is a very sought out after wedding singer. Like, he's really good at what he does. He's amazing on the mic, not just singing wise, but just like very poetic and just overall a good vibe, which you want at the wedding. And then we also see behind Robbie is our lovely George, who is honestly a man of many talents because they play the keyboard as well as eventually will pull out a trumpet or two. They just know how to do it. And everybody is just having a blast. Like, everybody's on the dance floor. They're running around, like the kids are running around and all of these things. And now it's time to have the little best man speech.
And comes stumbling up on that stage is Steve Buscemi's character, who's playing the groom's brother. So of course he's going to give a speech. I'm really against like speeches. I really don't think there needs to be speeches at weddings. I think they're kind of like, I get everybody
toast. Like, I get doing a toast. Like, you're like the father of the bride or something, or like, I think parents like that, they're more mature and can give a toast. But if you're just absolutely rocked, right? Because a lot of weddings I've been to, the wedding party has been pre-gaming pretty much the whole day, right? You probably don't want those people to be giving speeches like in front of your entire family. And those people also, like, no offense, I'm just trying to eat my plate of food. I gave you $200 to be here. I want my food and my drinks.
I want my food, yeah. And I don't need to hear from the maid, like the maid of honor, the best man, the father of the bride, the father of the groom, the mother of the bride, the mother of the
cousin twice removed.
I don't freaking care, dude. You threw this party. We get it. You love your kid. Okay, yay. They fell in love because they're getting married. We know. Thank you.
We've been new, girl. Thanks, Carol.
Yeah, thanks. We got this. We just want to eat. We want to hit that buffet before they're out of food because that's happened.
Yeah, true.
I got to get my ass up at a wedding to go to a buffet. There better be freaking food waiting for me.
Yeah. No, literally.
But sidetrack off of that, ADHD.
ADHD?
Yeah, ADHD. Steve Buscemi's character stumbles up onto the stage. He's got a glass in his hand. Now the colors, this is an 80s wedding. So the bride has her the like headband, the like V headband with a little like crystal there. And her hair is like up here, and then the veil's coming out here. They have the big pink wicker chairs that they each sit in. Their colors seem to be pink, like a light pink and a teal.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Steve Buscemi's outfit is a ruffly pink shirt, like a light pink shirt. He has a teal bow tie, a teal cummerbund. He's got a gray suit on, and it's
Yeah.
just like the colors are like
I
hideous.
don't know.
Clear
It's like the
80s.
Easter Bunny
Yeah.
threw up on him, that's what it seems like.
Yes.
It's not. But I get
Yes.
it, that was the color combo of '85, I guess.
I believe so, yeah. So his speech is all about how his brother is better than him, basically telling his dad, like, "I'm a failure. My brother's better than me. I'll never be as good as him. Right, dad? Right, dad?" And the dad's getting more and
And
more
everyone's
pissed
like,
off.
"Ooh,"
Yeah, and the
like,
dad's getting,
pulling
like,
at the
pissed.
collar, they're like, "Oh god."
Yeah. And then he, like, lets something slip like, "Oh, remember that time we were in, like, Mexico, we picked up those prostitutes?" And, like, yeah, and then Robbie comes up in, like, kind of, "Okay, buddy, okay, you're good," and, like, Steve Buscemi is so great, I love him, he's one of my favorite actors.
Yes.
He's just like he, like, grabs a guitar and he's like, "Play guitar, yeah, no lessons, I'm better than everybody."
No
Just like, just
lessons.
you yes, no lessons,
And
best
he's, like,
guitar
playing
player
this
ever.
horrible riff on the
Oh,
guitar, and it's so out of tune,
and
it's
that
so
was
bad.
ad-libbed, he did that just because he's
'Cause he's
great.
just goofy.
Um Yeah, so then Robbie comes on and the bride, of course, is looking at the groom like, "Prostitutes? What the hell?" Like, and Robbie, says like, "You guys are in love, you fell in love for a reason. We don't look at the past,
Mhm.
to have something that you guys have is real." Just really fixing the problem. Like that's his job. That's why he's the best wedding singer.
Yeah.
And they basically like make up and everything's good. Uh he takes a break. He goes, "I'm gonna take a break. George is gonna take over." And he walks off the stage, and George, love me some George, is the character of George looks like uh George, what is his name? Oh my god.
Just Boy George,
Boy
right?
George, that's it. Oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
was like, I don't know,
I'm getting
maybe
my Gen X card taken away. Oh boy. Yeah, my brain's
it's
not working
okay,
today.
Gen Z will save you.
Yeah, Gen Z will save me, thank you. Boy George looks exactly like Boy George. He's got the
Yeah,
hair, the
like,
makeup, the
Karma
hat.
Chameleon era,
Oh,
like, perfect
perfect.
culture
Yeah, the
club.
jacket.
Yeah.
And George is gonna sing "Do You Really Wanna Hurt Me?" because that's the song that
Same
George knows.
song.
Yeah.
And
So
when we say the song that George knows, it is the only
the
song
song
that
George
George
knows. Yeah,
knows.
he knows no other song or they know no other song.
Yes.
Um, and, so Robbie goes over to his friend Sammy, who's checking out the new waitress. This is Julia, who is Drew Barrymore, and he says he's going to give it to her, and that if she's half as easy as her cousin Holly, who is Christine Taylor, that he can close us in like a week. And then
Mhm.
as he says that, she has the tray and she turns around and she hits a man in the head with the tray, and and Robbie goes, "Good luck with that, buddy."
Yeah, good luck with that, okay. So we cut to Julia, and she's heading into the kitchen and she's like, okay, I really need some more prime rib. Like the prime rib is flying off. Nobody wants the fish. And of course, the chef, who is like a very, what's the way I
Dirt,
want to say this?
dirty looking scummy man.
Yeah, he just like is exactly what you think that he would look like. And like, he just like, I don't even know. I'm
Like he'd
trying
be from the Billy Goat Tavern shtick, like the cheeseburger.
yeah.
Like he might be like he's like greasy.
Yeah.
He's got a Frankie said relax shirt. I think it just says relax. Yeah, and it's all dirty, and he's all yeah.
Yeah. He's just, like, kinda grimy, and you can just tell that, whatever. And he's just like, "Okay, listen, it's always with the prime rib, never with the fish, like, you need to be more like like your cousin Holly and blah, blah, blah." And Holly, of course, comes in and she has, you know, no, uh no issue serving any of her food or anything like that, and Julia's like, "Why is he being so nice to you? Like, why does this man hate me so much? Why is he so nice to you?" And she goes, "Well, I let him look at my boobs at the holiday party and the Christmas party last year, so, you can work something out. Maybe he'll be nicer to you."
She said, "Not my finest 30 minutes, but it's been a pleasant
Pleasant
working
working experience.
experience
I was
ever
like,
since." And then the cook looks at Drew Barrymore like, "Hmm?"
"Hmm?
And she's like, "No."
No.
And he's like,
Not having it."
"Right." So we find out that Julia has been engaged for quite some time. Because Holly's like, "What's wrong? You look like upset," and she's, well, I don't know if Glenn's ever going to set a date because we've been engaged for so long. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I'm doing all these weddings, and all I see is these happy couples. Am I going to be one of them? So, she tells her cousin, Holly tells her to go outside and get some air. So she goes outside. She sits outside, like in the back, which is next to the dumpster. And at this time, Adam Sandler's character, Robbie, is going in the back and he runs into a kid who was given alcohol by one of the groomsmen. He's obviously
Yeah.
not old enough to drink and he feels a little sick. So Robbie brings him outside to the dumpster.
Yeah, and the kid is literally puking so hard. And this is like the perfect meet cute, right? Like
Mm.
Robbie's coming out and he sees Julia, and then there's just a kid puking behind him right in the back. So it's just like perfect romantic opportunity. And they just start like having some small talk, talking about like their weddings and things like that, because we do learn that Robbie is also going to get married as well. And meanwhile, while this little meet cute is happening and that a boot came out of that kid from puking,
Literally.
George is still inside finishing the song, right? He finished Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? And then he's looking around as soon as the song is done. Robbie is nowhere in sight. So what does he do?
He just looks at the band and goes, and then you hear, dun, 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 do you really want to hurt me? And he just plays the
Yep.
same song. So
Same
basically,
song. Do
same
it over again.
song. Do, 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 do. Yeah. So poor George doesn't know any other song. And all the like guests are like,
I'm
what?
like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, yeah. So that's all they get to hear. And this is Robbie and Julia obviously meet because, the puking kid, and he's like, "Oh,
Yes.
what are you drinking?" And she's like, "I'm drinking a Coke." He's like, "You sure there's not rum in there?" She's like, "No, because if there was, I'd be puking in that dumpster more than that kid." Um,
He goes,
and
I don't think anybody could puke as much as that kid. I think I just saw a boot come out of him.
yep. And she's like, "Oh, you're Robbie, the wedding singer." And he's like, "Yeah, who are you?" And she's like, "I'm Julia. I'll actually be catering your wedding next week." And he's like, "Oh, that's great." Um, and then we cut to the next day.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Robbie is teaching the lovely Rosie how to sing, and she wants to sing a specific song because it is her husband's and hers wedding anniversary. And you can tell it's a wedding anniversary for a very long time. She is just like the cutest like elder lady. She's just adorable. And Robbie just lets her pay him in meatballs. Like she doesn't pay for these lessons, she pays for them in meatballs.
most.
And he just, she's just like, "Oh, it's so kind of you for letting an old lady pay in meatballs." And he's just like, "Girl, I should be charging you like the meatballs are plenty, right? I could be charging you $100 and it still wouldn't be as worth or higher worth than your meatballs." And then she just, instead of putting them in Tupperware for him, puts them right in his hands, in the palm of his hands. And then he takes a bite out of one. He's like, "Wow, that's a great
Yeah.
meatball. Amazing. That's great." And she's just like, "Wow, I'm so excited for your wedding tomorrow. You're going to be a great husband." And while she's doing this, she's embracing his hands and just smushing the
Pushing him.
meatballs in his
And it's like,
hands.
"Bleh."
The texture, that would be like my nightmare.
Yeah, and it's just like you can see it like squeezing through his
Yeah,
hands, like the sauce and everything. And he's like,
so
"Oh,
much.
okay, all right." Yeah. So it's time for Robbie and Linda's wedding, and we see like this is like the like quintessential wedding 80s. It's got the
Mhm.
the picture with the heart with the flowers in the
Yeah.
beginning. Julia's mom is dropping her off, and in true 80s mom fashion, she says, "Do you see that girl? You're prettier than that girl, and she's getting married." And then she's like, "What does pretty have to do with getting married?" And the mom's like, "Everything." So she's that typical mom where you have to be the prettiest and the skinniest, and you have to look the best, and that's the only thing. Um, and she's like, "You know what? You could fake a pregnancy, and maybe he would marry you faster." Like, that's how
She's like,
desperate.
"I'm getting out of the car, mom. I
Yeah,
cannot
like,
do this."
okay, mom, like, you don't need to brag because moms had to brag about their dang kids. I mean, it's still like that today, but, it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
mom, it has not like, I'm engaged at least, you know?
Mhm.
So, uh, they're all they're all getting ready, you know, everybody's at the altar, Robbie's waiting, and nothing's happening, and Robbie's like, "Oh," you know, somebody said, "Oh, maybe she's stuck in traffic or something, or maybe there was a makeup mishap or something like that." And then we see Robbie's sister come on the stage and talk to Robbie, and what does she tell Robbie?
Yeah, she tells Robbie that there was a note, and she left the note and said that she's not getting married today, and she's not getting married to him pretty much ever. So, and he just goes, "Oh, so it was a bad note." And ever since then, obviously, he went through a small depression, of course, because he thought he was going to be marrying the love of his life. And she didn't even care enough to say, talk to him in person and say, I
Mm,
can't do it right now, or I can't do this in general. She literally left a freaking note. How
yep,
embarrassing.
yep. So, you know, it's later on in the day. Of course, you know, the cake's there. It's missing a bride. Um, and then the
But don't worry,
brother-in-law.
White Wedding by Billy Idol is also
Oh,
playing
yeah,
on
it's
the
on there.
TV.
Yes. Yes. Yes, that's a little Easter egg. And Robbie's like, "Can you please turn that crap off right now?" So, and then, you know, his best friend Sammy's there. The brother-in-law who looks like he's from The Sopranos, which I actually think he is from The Sopranos or one of the, like, you know,
Mhm.
the, you know, mobster
Yeah,
movies. Yeah,
yeah,
he's definitely played a mobster for sure. He's got the hair. His hair, I think you could bounce like quarters
exactly.
off that hair. He's got
Yeah,
nice.
he would give Pauly D a run for his money,
Oh,
for
for
sure.
sure. Yeah, I think he's the, like, OG Pauly D probably. Uh,
OG Guido.
yeah. So Robbie's sitting outside on the step of his sister's house because he lives in her basement, um, and he's, holding the little bride, and here comes good
Linda.
old Linda, and she's, like, with her hair, she's like, "Hey." And he's like, "Hey." And, she's like, "So how are you?" And he's like shit,
Girl, I'm not
basically,
good, girl. What are
really, yeah.
you talking about?
And she's basically tells him like, "I know why I couldn't get married because I'm in love with Robbie back then, not Robbie now." And she says, "I woke up thinking I'm about to marry a wedding singer. I'm never gonna leave Ridgefield."
Yeah.
And he says, "Ridgefield is a perfect place to raise a family." And then she's like, "Yeah, living in your sister's basement with 5 kids while you're off every weekend doing weddings for $60 a pop." And then he's like, "Again, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday." And then Robbie's nephew comes
The
out
best cameo.
and he's like, "Linda." And he's like, "You're a bit."
I loved watching this on, like, TBS because they have to, like, what's it called? Like, blend it out or
Yeah,
whatever,
you're a witch, I
censor
think.
it. Yeah, and then it always censored to, "Linda, you're a witch." And I was like, "Ooh, girl, she don't say witch."
Oh, and then he just runs away. And then Robbie's like, "We think he might have Tourette's, but we're not sure."
King. Yeah, so next morning we are in Julia's house and she is, of course, listening to 99 Luftballons or whatever. I love that song. It's such a good song. But her fiance Glenn comes in and surprises her. And he just goes in, hands her an envelope, and is just like, "Okay, I know that you want me to set a date, so here we go." And he hands her 2 tickets to Las Vegas. What a romantic wedding.
Yeah. Oh, if you can hear that, it's
Yeah,
thunderstorming
it's
outside.
raining by me too, but I
Yeah.
definitely heard that on your end.
Yep, it's thunderstorming. So if
Yeah.
this goes out or
Sorry,
something,
guys.
that could be why. Here, burp, burp, burp. If my husband comes running in the room going, the tornado sirens are going off, then I'll have to leave.
Yeah, I guess.
Actually, I'll probably be outside going, where?
Yeah, literally.
Because us Midwesterners, that's what we do.
Yeah, you Midwesterner.
Okay, I like to be
She's
out
a
there.
storm chaser.
Yeah. So yeah, so he thinks it's super romantic that he has planned a trip to Las Vegas where they can elope. Super
Mhm.
fun. And she's happy he set a date, but she's like, "Las Vegas, I kind of wanted to have, you know, my friends and family there." And he's like, "Well, I don't want a big thing of people just come to drink the booze and eat your food." I'm like, "That's exactly what it's for."
That's what a wedding is.
Literally. If you don't have good booze and good food, don't throw a
Then what are we
wedding.
even doing here?
Or at least
Bad
good
wedding?
booze.
Oh, Sorry.
Uh, um, so then Glenn, being the thoughtful, wonderful fiance he is
Mhm.
he's like, "Okay, you can go ahead and have the wedding you want. It's more important to you anyways."
Yeah, that makes sense.
Nice, dude. Nice.
I'm glad that his heart's in the right place.
Totally thinking of, yeah, they're gonna do this together.
So, Sammy, the king himself, drops by Robbie's place in his sister's basement, um, and Robbie's brother-in-law is the
Yes.
word I was looking for, is talking to Sammy and he's just saying like, "Bro, he has not left the basement in 5 days, like, I would go check on him." So that's what Sammy does, and of course, where is Robbie? He's just chilling in his bed, and you just hear The Cure playing around in the background because he's
Yeah.
just sulking in
Boys
the
don't cry.
darkness. Yeah, to Boys Don't Cry. And Sammy tells him like, "Man, I really think you just gotta get back out there, like, go back to work. There's a bunch of these single chicks at the wedding, like, yeah, because the best possible place to be is another wedding when you just got stood up at your wedding." Okay, Sammy. It's
Yeah.
just so much boy math. You guys heard of girl math. That's boy math. And at the wedding, obviously Robbie is not doing well.
No, he's literally having a nervous breakdown. And he's singing Holiday, and of course, like the father, the bride is just giving him dirty looks and like
Yeah, because he's paying for this thing,
yeah,
and
and
he's
I
just
don't
like
blame them.
"I live in my sister's
This
basement. I'm
basement.
a loser. Celebrate."
And again, 80s. So in the background is now my Gen Xers, I know you've been to a wedding that has that cake that has the multi-layers with the little bridges to the other little smaller cakes, and sometimes it had a fountain in the middle. Okay. And this particular cake, the colors are red and like white. So I don't think they would want a red fountain in there because it would look
No.
like blood. But it is
Yeah.
definitely that cake with the like the plastic bridges that go to something else and
Nice.
the wicker chairs and everything. And yeah, definitely the big 80s hair and all that stuff. So yeah, so everyone just kind of look at it. I'm like, "Eh," you know,
Yeah,
you know,
like, this is
yeah.
painful.
So after Robbie sings Holiday, or
Sure,
attempts
that's
to
what we
sing
can call it,
Holiday,
sing.
um, so Robbie starts talking and says a couple things. The couple is off to a good start because at least the bride showed up. He's like, "You got to be stoked because at least she showed up." And they're like,
Perfect. Good start.
"Good start." And the bride's father yells, "I'm paying you to sing. I'm not paying you to talk." And what does Robbie answer with?
"Well, I have a microphone and you don't, so you will listen to every damn word I have to say." And he's, like, screaming it into the microphone.
Yes. And the dad's
And
like,
yeah, and dad is not happy, and now Robbie's just standing up on his soapbox, like, he is just gonna start ranting, like, he just goes, "Well, some of us will never find true love. For example, me. Pretty sure that guy over there." And he's just like
he's a larger
a
gentleman
larger gentleman that's just
with a
sitting right next to the
napkin
cake.
who is he definitely ready to he wants to eat. They're
Yeah,
just,
girl, me too.
yeah.
And then he goes, "And that lady with the sideburns over there." And basically everybody at table 9, which is definitely like the misfit table.
That's the misfit table. Yes.
And what song is he gonna start to sing that just gives off amazing wedding vibes?
He's gonna sing the romantic song Love Stinks. He's gonna yep. And yeah, so he starts to sing that and the larger gentleman, sideburns lady, and as he says, the freaks at table 9, they all join in with this love stinks. And because he's like, she loves her, she loves another guy, but he loves her, he loves somebody else,
Yeah.
and it just like
You
all
just
over.
can't win.
Yep, love stinks, and they're all singing love stinks, and
The lady
yes,
with the sideburns, "Love stinks." She's
yeah,
like
they're,
question
like, all
mark.
excited, and, so Robbie turns around as it's almost over, and he gets greeted by a big ol' punch from the dad, the father of the bride.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah, and then after he blacks out with that punch, we catch Robbie in the dumpster. But
Yes.
to our surprise, Julia is there to see Robbie and meet him in the dumpster there. And she's really just trying to talk to him and is just like, hey, you did promise, that you would sing at our wedding, and me and Glenn finally set a date. So you have to be there. Like, you have to be my wedding singer. And he just cannot do it. He says that he can't even be around weddings. Like, and all of those things, but she really wants him so badly to come to her engagement party that's going to be in about 2 weeks because they did finally set that date. And she's like, you need to bring Sammy as well. And then I think she just thinks it'll be nice for him to get out of the house and, do some things here. And we cut to Robbie babysitting his little nephews, who are just honestly the two most hilarious human beings in this movie.
And this little tiny part, even though it's not very significant, he's watching his nephews because his sister and her husband are going out, and the sister's ready, and she's like, "Come on, hon," and he says something, and this is something that was really huge in the 80s. This was like the biggest thing. I mean, millions of people tuned in for this. He says, what does he say? He says, she goes, "Hurry up." And he says, "I think they shot JR. He might be dead or something." Now, if anybody knows, my Gen Xers do, your parents too watched it, was Dallas. And the biggest thing for a show to do was to end on a cliffhanger at the end of a season. This was not done before. They wouldn't make you wait a whole season to find out what happened. It would be like the end of the week on a Friday, and then you do like tune in, just like soap operas do. But
Yeah.
Who Shot JR was so huge. It was everywhere. They made shirts. It was on every magazine cover. It was on every entertainment thing. It was a whole thing. Who shot this character JR, who's like the biggest dick. And when it came back on 8 months later, you had to wait 8 months to find out who shot JR. That opening episode, 78 to 80 million people tuned in for that. Now, this is the 80s, so just imagine that. It's not like streaming. There's no
Having to have
stream.
TVs
There's
and
like
watching
one
at that
TV per
time.
household. Yep.
Mhm.
That many people tuned in because back then there were like 5 shows, if that, and everybody watched those 5 shows. And Dallas was one of those huge ass
Yeah.
shows. So, yeah.
Wow.
So that was just like
I'm
kind of
not even gonna lie to you, I never even heard of that before.
yeah. Nana watched it. I remember her watching it. I don't know if she's a huge fan of it, but I know she did like at least occasionally watch it. I think my grandma
Yeah.
watched it too. But I just remember it being a really big thing. And yeah, it was kind of like a Dynasty. It came from
Okay.
like that. Dynasty came
Oh,
from that kind
okay,
of,
okay, okay.
or vice versa. But yeah, it was kind of like that kind
So
of a
like a
soap opera.
drama
Mm-hmm.
kind of. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. But it
Got it.
was unheard of at that time for shows to end a season on a cliffhanger.
Mm.
Imagine that if we had no shows that would end a hanger, that would I'm kinda like I would kinda like that because sometimes they don't renew.
Prodigal Son. Ugh.
Yes.
I will never forgive them for taking that show away from us,
Yes.
and that ending was so dumb. So stupid.
If you're gonna cancel something, you should at least give them
Like, at least let them finish it out.
or give them a 2-hour special that they could just wrap it up decently. If
Yeah.
my sister's listening, Reunion. We're still very bitter about that. I know nobody's heard of that show.
I don't know what that
Reunion,
is.
Kelly,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Oh, and right now she's probably like, "Yeah, that so mad." It was it
That's
was
exactly what I was thinking of.
and you know what? I blame the White Sox. Here's why I blame the White Sox, because that was when they were in the World Series, and the show, because they were like,
2005 or 6 or whatever it was.
because the
Jesus.
show was it was really good, and they showed like the first 3 episodes,
Mhm.
and they didn't show the rest because nobody watched it because they watched the World Series, especially with the White
Yeah.
Sox winning. Like
Yeah,
they were almost as
that's
bad as the
never gonna
Cubs,
happen again, so
Yeah. So yeah,
God.
Cubs too.
Yeah,
I
any
just
Chicago sports really, they're all
ay, ay, ay. Being a Chicago fan could be hard. It
yeah,
can be
all
hard
we have is the sky.
sometimes. It's hard.
Ugh.
Yeah. So that's that whole ranty thingy. So now we're at Julia's engagement party, which is at Glenn's house, which is a huge, beautiful mansion.
Huge. And, like, it took me a couple of times watching this, like and I mean, I've seen this probably at least triple digits, but, like, like, I remember the first couple times, I'm like, "Oh, they rented this nice mansion," and I did not even realize that it was Glenn's house. Like,
Mhm.
it is freaking phenomenal. And she's basically Julia's coming up to Glenn and saying that they have so much planning to do, like, "I need to do this, we need to do all these things with the flowers, arrangements, all this crap." And Glenn is just like, "Well, sugar pie, it's not really my thing, like, sorry, girl, like, you're the woman, you gotta do what you gotta do." Basically, in Glenn speak. So he's gonna go get trashed, and she's gonna deal with everything in the wedding.
Yeah.
And Holly asks Glenn, since his bachelor party is gonna be that Friday before the wedding, if it's okay that he's gonna be missing his showing of Miami
Miami
Vice for
Vice.
that day. And let me just tell you that this man is literally dressed in the perfect attire for Miami Vice,
Yeah.
like,
He's
in this
Don
very
Johnson. He thinks he's Don Johnson.
he
Yeah.
does. He
Yeah.
truly thinks that, and there are so many things throughout this movie that will really I just get the ick from this man. And he's just like, "Well, it's summer. Reruns." Like, he's already thought about this. Like,
Yeah.
that was even a higher commitment than the wedding or the bachelor party.
Doesn't think anything about the actual wedding, but just the fact that his bachelor party will not interfere with his Miami Vice
Yep,
schedule.
yep.
He's cool.
He planned around that, don't worry.
Yeah, Miami Vice was another big one.
Uh,
So, enter Sammy and, Robbie. They come into they go to the engagement party, and Robbie's just kinda like, "I just wanna be, like, in and out," you
yeah,
know?
like, I'm here to support Julia because she is
Mhm.
a really nice person,
And
but
then
I do not wanna be here right now.
so s Sammy's dressed like Michael Jackson in Thriller. So he has
Literally with the
the
glove and everything.
he has the red jacket. He has the sparkly glove from Billie Jean on, and he's like, "Do I look okay?" And Robbie's like, "I don't know. I would maybe remove the sparkle glove. That's a little too much."
Say hi to your brother Tito for me.
So, they see Julia, and of course, Robbie goes right to Julia, who introduces them to Glenn and his frat bud. I forgot his frat bud's name. I'm
Who
just calling him frat
knows?
bud. I don't care.
Yeah, it's
He's
just
his
some
frat
old
bud.
white dude's name. Who
He's your
knows?
typical,
Who cares?
dude bro, brainless person.
Yeah, Sigma apple pie for sure.
And the frat bud goes, "Oh, Robbie, the wedding singer. Oh, I heard what happened at your wedding. That was so cold. You must have felt like shit." And then Robbie says, "No, it felt really good. Thanks for bringing it up, man. My parents died when I was 10. Would you like to talk about that?" And the guy's like, "Why would
Why
we
would I
want to
wanna
talk
talk about
talk about
that?
that?"
I don't
He,
know.
he's like, "I don't know."
It's just like he just has such good singers. I just love Robbie so much, and that guy is just so annoying and literally useless. And now Robbie's starting to tell Julia about what Sammy said about her the very first wedding that they all worked together.
Yes.
And she's just like, "Oh, tell me more." And Sammy's like, "No, please stop. Like, we're not doing this right now."
Mhm.
And Robbie's like, "Oh, are you sure? Because he said that he was gonna give it to you. He was gonna give it
Yes.
to you good." And then Julia responds with, "Give me what exactly?"
Yeah, she's playing
And
along. It's great.
yes, they just have great energy together, and Sammy, of course, is embarrassed and just annoyed, so he's walking away. And that this is when the iconic line of "Say hello to your brother Tito for me" comes out.
And then he just goes like this as he walks away. Yeah.
Yeah, he's flipping him off.
Oh, it's so
So
funny.
good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Um, so, Robbie asked Julia, "Hey, how's the planning going?" And she's like, "Well, Glenn's not helpful. He doesn't want to do any of it. I did find a florist, but they're really expensive. I'm not sure." And he's like, "Oh, don't use that florist. Use this florist instead. They're way better flowers and way cheaper." And she's like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that." And she's like, "It's too bad we won't be hanging out more since Robbie's not doing weddings anymore." And he tells her that there's lots of other things besides a wedding. And then we cut to a cut
A
to a
bar
bar mitzvah.
mitzvah.
Yes, and
Yes.
yes. And he's singing and kids are dancing and they're having a great time. Everybody's happy again because it's not a wedding, so he's not depressed. George is there looking like George. Um, and then Robbie sees someone sitting at a table looking sad.
Yeah, and he approaches this young kid at the table and is just like, "Hey, like, are you good? Like, why don't you ask somebody to dance? And the kid responds with, well, I already did, but the girl that I asked said that she doesn't dance with losers. Dun dun dun. Like, what the heck are we even doing here? So now Robbie's keeping this in the back of his mind. He's like, okay, how can I get everybody in a good mood, right? So he gets up on stage and tells Julia, because Julia, gorgeous. Drew Barrymore is stunning.
Mhm.
And he's like, okay, Julia, now I need you to dance with somebody, but you get to pick anybody that you want to dance with, and you need to pick the most unlosery guy
This is
in the
hilarious.
room to dance with. And she's like going around the line because they all line up because they're like, come
Mhm.
on, Julia, please dance with me. Oh, come on, baby, dance with
Yeah.
me. They're like 11 years
He's
old.
got, like, a fedora on, the one kid's got a fedora
Literally.
on, he's like,
Yeah, the little yarmulkes, they're so cute. And then she eventually goes up to the kid that's sitting at the table that was rejected by another girl before, and she asks, "Can I have this dance?"
"Mm." Yes, it's very cute, and the kid is all like, "Oh my gosh," and all the other boys are like, "Oh, what? What?" And he's playing, they played "Till There Was You," I think that's the name of the
Mhm.
song,
Yeah, I think
which is
so.
what Rosie is practicing,
Yeah.
to sing at her 50th anniversary, and we get to see George's talent, okay? So this song has many instruments in it. So we see George, playing the keyboard at first, and then George breaks out the clarinet. It's like doo 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 doo, and then he breaks out the trumpet, wah, 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 wah,
Yes.
and everybody's dancing, and the kid grabs Julia's butt, and she's like,
Yeah, he's copping a feel.
yeah, and Robbie's like, "Just go with it."
Yeah.
And then all the other kids, he's, like, dragging other kids to dance, like, boys and girls to dance with each other, and then you got the older folks dancing with each other, and they're all grabbing each other's, like, butts.
Mhm. They're following everybody's lead. It's
yeah, it's
cute,
a
it's
cute
funny.
cute scene, yeah. And she's like, "Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for the dance," or whatever, and the kid was, like, all of a sudden cool now because he got to dance with Julia, which was
Mhm.
that was really nice that he did that for him.
Yeah, very
Uh,
sweet.
yeah. Julia asks Robbie after everything. She's like, "That's really nice what you did." And she says, "You helped me plan the wedding because the info you gave me on the florist, you were correct. It was so much cheaper and so much better." She's like, "That's what I need. I'm newer to the area because she moved here for Glenn, of course."
Yeah.
And she's like, "I don't know anybody. You know everything." So he's like, and she's like, "Please." And of course he's like,
Yeah,
"Okay.
'cause she's
Yeah.
amazing and yeah,
Yeah. He's going to help her plan the
and
wedding."
he's so sweet.
Mhm.
So now we're going to join Robbie and Julia at the photographer so they can figure out a new photographer for Julia's wedding. And this is the lovely Faye, my queen Faye. And they're basically arguing with Faye, and Robbie he means business, right? Like he knows pretty much everybody in the town. He's been around weddings his entire life. He
Mhm.
knows that Faye has given a very, very low price to a couple that he knows, and she is not having it. She's like, "I would never have done it for that low, nothing like that. I don't know what you're talking about." And then she cracks. She's like, "Oh, fine, okay, whatever." So she does give Julia the best price because Robbie knows his stuff. I love that for him.
Mhm.
Faye is just like, "You know what? You two just look truly happy. Like, I know that you guys are going to make it a long time." And then as she's saying this, she's also explaining other couples who have made it for a long time, like our lovely
That are gonna last
Donald and
forever.
Ivana and Woody and Mia and Bert
Bert
and
and
Lonnie.
Lonnie.
I'm like, "Girl, what are we
If you
doing?"
haven't guessed, all of these people are divorced, and it did
Yeah,
not last, and it was
no.
kind of
Oh,
bad. Yeah.
yeah,
Mia
not
and Woody
the
were not
best
married,
show.
but he ended up leaving her for one of the adopted
His
children.
adopted daughter.
Mm,
Yeah, I can't do
yeah.
that anyways.
Yeah. So,
And
yeah.
then Robbie kind of breaks it off and is like, "Girl, we are not getting married." And she's like, "What?" And he goes, "Well, we're actually brother and sister." And he goes, "Oh," like Faye's like, "Oh, I know that I could sense the closeness." And they're just kind of bickering back and forth. And then they're even fighting about like, "Oh, I'm going to tell mom when we get home." And it's just a cute
Yeah.
little experience there.
Yeah. Oh, so now we're gonna cut they're gonna choose a wedding singer.
Because Robbie can't
Yeah.
do it.
Robbie will not be doing it. And they're sitting down, and it's John Lovitz. his character, I think it's Jimmy.
Mhm.
He is singing, this is ladies' night, so he's singing, "This is ladies' night," and he's doing, like, grinding, and then he does, like, a, "Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa," and
he's,
grabs
like,
his, like,
bumping
crotch,
and,
like
like,
like a
doing
Michael
that.
Jackson crotch grab, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, sexy lady," and then he's like, "Sophisticated mama,"
Yeah, he's
and
like, "Mm."
Julia's
Yeah,
like,
Julia's, like,
"No."
not even sure what's going on.
He
She's like,
does
"Where
such a good
am I?
job.
Am I dreaming right now? Like, what
He's
the hell is
so
going
good.
on
Oh,
here?"
and then he's done, and Robbie's like, "Thanks for doing this, man," and Jimmy says, um, "Oh, I should be thanking you for quitting," and he goes, "Or should I thank Linda?" And what does Julia say?
Yeah. Well, Julia goes, "Well, you've just inspired me to hire a DJ, so thank you." Like, she is standing up for her man, Robbie. And Jimmy Jimmy has the
You
most
gotta do
iconic
it, Ireland, you
exit.
gotta
He
do
has
it.
the most iconic exit. He literally goes, "Oh, well, good luck finding a DJ that can move and shake like this." And he's just, like, shimmying it back and forth, and Julia's just like, "Girl, what the hell did I just
Oh
see?"
my god.
Ugh.
So good.
So now Julia and Robbie are just chatting, and Robbie mentions that he wrote a song shortly after the wedding stand up scenario. But half of it was before the Linda breakup, and then the second half was after the breakup. And we know that our mans loves The Cure, especially when he's in his depression after. So he's like, "Listen, I was listening to The Cure a lot." And
Mhm.
Julia's like, "No, you need to sing it for me." And he's just like, "I don't know." Like, "Okay, well, if you don't like it, just keep in mind, again, I was listening to The Cure a lot." And of course, this song's title, which he doesn't say right away, is Somebody Kill Me. And it is actually a really great song. Like, it was on my Spotify Wrapped last year. I'm not even gonna front with you. Like, it's really bad. I have a really bad unhealthy obsession with this movie. But it's a great song. And Julia, even though Robbie's literally the ending words to the song is like, "I'm on my knees, pretty, pretty please, kill me. I want to die." And it literally says, "Put a bullet in my head." And Julia's just like sitting there for a second. And then when he wraps up, he's like kneel over and like crying. And she's just like,
Yeah.
like she's like, "I liked it. I liked
Mhm.
it." And of course, they're going to get some little ice cream afterwards, but before they get their little
Mhm.
sweet treat, who do we
Yeah.
see?
So we see John Lovitz's character Jimmy, while Adam Sandler, because the song starts out like, I don't know the words, you know the words. It's like really like soft. It's like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
something like need
Yeah,
you.
"You don't know how much I
I
need
need
you."
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like this sweet little doot 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 doot, and then he's like, but it all was bullshit. uh,
"I'm just."
yes.
You keep hitting your head
So
on
it
the
was like that. So Jimmy's watching. So he's like behind. He's like he peeks out. There's a curtain, the red curtain. So he peeks out, and he goes, he's losing his mind, and I'm reaping all the benefits. And then he goes back behind the curtain like this.
Now, that might be the quote that we say from this movie the most. Like, that definitely is the quote that me and my mom will just look at each other, and then we'll just do the curtain thing, we won't
We
even
will.
say
We will
anything.
just do
We
this.
just "And I'm reaping all the benefits."
Yes. We will do that all the time. And we did that during the movie. We just looked at each other and
Yeah,
we
we
went like
just
this. They hate us when we watch this
Such
movie. Oh
I
my
know
god,
I
everybody
know
hates
not
us.
watching with other people, it's actually so bad.
We don't care. We don't care. Uh,
No.
yep,
No
so
shame.
so this is when Julia takes him out for ice cream, which is really cute. She's like, "Do you feel better?"
Yeah,
And
she's
he's
eating like a banana split, it's so
mm,
cute.
and, he says, "Linda and I used to come here," and she says, "Do you mind if I ask, what happened between you and Linda? And how did you know she wasn't the right one?" And he tells her about the time that she wouldn't give him the window seat when they were going to the Grand Canyon. Linda had been to the Grand Canyon multiple times. He had never been, and she would not give him the window seat so that he could see, a really great aerial view of the Grand Canyon. And he's like, "I know it seems stupid, but that was one of the things. And Julia's like, it's not stupid. It's the little things that count. And he asks her, well, when did you know Glenn was the one? And she says, the right one was someone I could see growing old with. Glenn will be a good-looking older man. And Robbie says, I'm probably going to look like Buddy Hackett, which if you know who Buddy Hackett is, I mean, she says he's going to look like Blake Carrington, which was from
Yeah.
one of the like Dynasty or something. And, and he's like, I'm going to look like Buddy Hackett. Now we get this great montage, Ireland, right? Of
Yeah,
this
we get
wedding montage.
this amazing montage of just all of these things that they're doing for the wedding. And we first are shown cake tasting, and they have like this cute little cake tasting train. You have Holly and Sammy like feeding each other. Well, Holly's feeding Julia, and then I think Julia feeds like Sammy or something like that. And there's a whole line, and then
Yeah.
Robbie's tasting the cake, and then when Robbie turns around, there's just some random lady that's trying to eat the cake off the fork. Like he's just like, ooh, jump
like-
scare. And literally have no idea where this woman came from. She
like-
just got there. Literally, who
And
is
when
this?
he puts the cake in her mouth, it's like she bites off his hand. He's like, like
yeah,
that.
and
So
she,
yeah.
like, has it all over her face. It's just like it's
She's like,
amazing.
"Mm."
And they are at the wedding shop, and they are trying on some weddings, and all you see is like Holly, little George, and then Julia's mom, on the wedding, like trying on wedding dresses and
Mhm.
kind of that are there for Julia and Robbie and all them. So, and then when George comes out, they just love George's dress.
wedding,
They're like,
yep.
yes, they're applauding for George, like
Yes.
outstanding. What an icon, sweetie. And then after our little montage here, Robbie is back at Rosie's.
Yep. And he's teaching her the lessons. It's really cute. He's sitting with her at the piano, and Julia's with him, and she's eating the meatballs. And when they finish, she like claps for them. She puts the fork down, she claps for them. And then we cut to Sammy, because Sammy's a limo driver.
Mhm.
And Sammy's driving the limo like insanely crazy. He's going like through cones, like, "Arr!" And he's like spinning, and he's going through all these cones. And then Julia tells Robbie, as Robbie's holding a stopwatch, she's like, of course I'm going to hire him. He's your best friend, and he's the only limo guy in town. Like, of course. She goes, yeah. He's like, yeah, but I just like to mess with him.
Mhm.
So then they cut back to him like getting out of the car and grabbing this mannequin bride and groom and
He's,
like shoving them in the
sprinting and
Yes.
shoving them in the car.
and then he's through the cones, and he stops, and he's like, well, how'd I do? And then
Yeah.
Robbie's like, you hit 2 cones. They could have been people at her wedding. And he's like, they were cones.
They were just cones.
They were just cones. Messing with them. I just thought that was really cute. And then it just cuts to Sammy driving Robbie back home in the limo. And he's like, oh, somebody left their jacket in the back. And this is when Robbie's like, oh, it's Julia's. Remember she said at,
Yeah, when she
Elm
got too hot
Street,
or whatever.
she
Yeah.
said it wasn't jacket weather anymore. And he's like, uh-oh. And he's like, what? He's like, you like Julia? He's like, no, I don't. He's like, yes,
He
you do.
so does.
He so does. Oh.
So we get to the next day, and Julia and Holly live together. So we're just kind of sitting at their house, and they're talking about how Julia's kiss is going to be at her wedding when they now pronounce them bride and groom, obviously. And Holly thinks that it should be an open mouth kiss, and Julia is like, girl, not in a church. I think that would be way too much. That it should be with a closed mouth. And Holly's just like, girl, I'm not saying that it has to be like a total makeout session, but a little bit more something.
There should be some
And
tongue.
as this conversation's happening, Robbie walks in with Julia's jacket because she left it in the car the day before, and Holly asks Robbie for her opinion. Holly asked Robbie for his opinion on it because obviously he's been to a billion weddings and all that fun stuff. And Holly's literally saying, like, girl, like, it shouldn't be, all over, but you need to do a little something that's just not a peck. And Julia's like, okay, I'm not doing a whole French kiss porno tongue, but I do want to do a little bit of tongue, like church tongue, like whatever church tongue is. And Holly's like, girl, I have no idea what church tongue is. But I need to see this in order to see if that's what we should do. And Julia's like, well, I don't know what do you want me to do? And Holly's like, just try it on Robbie. Like, it's fine. And they do, and they kiss, and it's just like the soft little beautiful music playing in the background. Like, oh, it's just so perfect. And they definitely have instant chemistry.
Really. Yep. And then Glenn walks in after they're done kissing, and Robbie tells him, he goes, I kissed her, but it didn't mean anything. I just brought her jacket. And then he leaves, and Glenn's like, kissed who? And Holly goes, oh, me. And he goes, who hasn't? She's like,
For Holly.
poor Holly. And
Aw.
Glenn has brought Julia a present. It's a CD player. So CD player in 1985 really didn't exist. It was $700. So he's making sure that she knows it was $700.
Yeah.
He's gonna go upstairs to like grab some tools so he can put it together. Julia's not understanding. She's like, "Oh, let me get some records." He's like, "It's not a record player, Jules. It's
CD
a
player.
CD player. It plays CDs." And she's like, "What the F is a CD?"
Yeah, she's like, girl, I ain't got no CDs.
Yeah.
Look around.
They ain't selling that stuff at, Sam Goody. So like she doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then of course, after when he goes upstairs, Holly and Julia are like, "Oh my God, did you see that kiss? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And Julia obviously seemed very excited about the kiss,
Uh-huh.
like with Robbie. And then Holly goes, I think I'm going to ask him out.
Yeah, like he is so hot.
Yes. And Julia kind of is taken back a little bit.
That's my
Like,
man. But
yeah,
not
kind of
really my
like
man, but
jealous.
my man.
Yeah. And then Holly's like, well, I won't if you don't want me to. And she goes, no, why wouldn't I want you to? Because she's getting married, but she's totally into Robbie. And, you know, she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And she's like, "Oh, we should do a we should do a double date." And Glenn's like, "Who should do a double date?" And she's like, "Or who are you going to go out with?" And she's like, "Oh, Robbie." And he's like, "Good, that guy needs to get laid." And she's like, "Just because a guy goes out with me doesn't mean he's going to get laid." And both Julia and Glenn give her the look of like, and she
Bro,
goes,
be so for real.
and she's like, "Okay, he's probably going to get laid."
Oh God.
Poor Holly.
Uh,
So they do decide to go on a double date at
mhm.
Spanky's. It's a swanky club.
Beautiful establishment.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the club, Holly is like heavy hitting on Robbie. Her hands are all over him. She's dressed just like Madonna. Like
Mhm.
Homegirl is like she's playing out all the stops. And Julia is watching this flirting from afar and she is just pounding rum. Like Homegirl is taking shots of like doubles and all of this stuff. Like she is going crazy. And Julia is like, "Oh, I got to go to the bathroom." Eventually, so then Holly obviously is going to take Julia to the bathroom, and as soon as she gets up to the bathroom, Glenn literally goes, "Yeah, she's probably going to yak." Like,
Yeah.
girl, what are we doing? Can you at least be like, "Oh, I'm concerned for my fiance." No, like, "Oh, she's going to yak."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and this is when Robbie is kind of forced to have this small talk with Glenn. Like, obviously, he's not a fan of Glenn. Glenn is, to be frank, an asshole. Like he's not a good person. But Robbie is just kind of making small talk with him, and Glenn kind of tells him like, or I guess Robbie asks like, "Oh, so what's her last name gonna be?" And he says Gulia, and Robbie's like, "Are you serious? Like her name is gonna be Julia Gulia? That's hilarious." And he goes, like Glenn's like, "Why is that hilarious?" And he goes, "I don't know." He's just like, because it rhymes, you effing idiot. Like, what are we
Yes.
talking
He's
about?
so dull. Oh God. Yeah. Um, so Robbie is noticing Glenn just staring at this waitress, her ass, because she's, bent over and short skirt, everything. And he's like, oh, that's like a real nice, ass, I guess. I don't know what the
Mhm.
exact words he
Don't.
says. Yeah, badonk. And he's like, yeah. And so Robbie's gonna, he's gonna test him. He's
Mhm.
trying to get some things like, he's like, yeah, and, but we can't get girls like that anymore. We're too old. And he says, speak for yourself. I can still get girls, like that. And he goes, yeah, but that's years ago or whatever. And he goes, try 10 days ago, younger and hotter. And he's like, what? Like, okay, but once you get married for sure, things are going to end. And he's like, no. He's like, I work late nights in the city.
And work long hours.
long hours and nights in the city, yep. And, so of course Robbie is just like disgusted because
Yeah,
Julia's such a, he doesn't
good
really
person.
say anything. He just is kind of like, interesting. And he uses the word grade A top choice meat, right? That's the
Yeah,
saying.
that's
Yeah.
Glenn saying is that that booty is grade A top
Mm-hmm.
choice meat.
Yes, that is how he
Because
describes
women are
women.
just objects to him, he's just disgusting.
Yes. And then Holly comes back and says Julia needs to go home. And he's
Yeah,
like,
she's
told
not
you she was
feeling
gonna
well.
yak.
Yeah, Glenn is
Yeah.
just ugh, he's so icky. Ugh, but of course, Glenn's gonna pull around the car, and our lovely Robbie is taking care of Julia. He is just walking her out. And like it's a cute little thing where Julia's just like, "Oh, I puked on my shoes, like I puked on like I thought I
My
had puke in
hair
my hair. Like, does my hair smell bad?" And he goes, "No, it smells good actually." Like it's
smells
a
like
cute little
strawberries.
yeah, it's a cute little moment. And of course, freaking Miami Vice himself, Glenn like drives in at like 90 miles an hour with his DeLorean with his
DeLorean.
butterfly doors.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the doors open and the music is blasting so loud in the DeLorean.
It
And
is the Miami Vice theme music
of course it is.
blasting at like 100.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
And the very first thing that he says to her is like, "Hey, don't puke in the interior of the car. It's an expensive interior." Not, "Oh, are you feeling okay?" or "How are you doing?" It's, "Please don't puke in my car." So, fun. What a gentleman.
He's so sweet. I mean, he's definitely husband material.
Yes.
Robbie drops Holly off at her house because he's a gentleman, and she kisses him. And she tells him, like, Julia's not here. She's gonna spend the night at Glenn's house, obviously, and she has the house all to herself. So she's like, "I'm gonna make it really easy on you. If you come upstairs with me, you're gonna get laid." And he's kind of like, he's asking questions about Julia, like, does she stay at Glenn's a lot? Holly's like, "Yeah, I guess so." And then it hits her that Robbie is in love with Julia.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh my God, you're in love with Julia." And he's like, "No, I'm not." Uh, Robbie tells her, like, I don't know what she sees in him because he's such a douche. Like, what does she see in him? And Holly tells her, "Well, you know why she's marrying Glenn." And he's like, "Well, why?" And she says, "For money and security." And he's like, "Well, not everybody, is that shallow and just wants that." And she goes, "Literally everybody wants that, Robbie." So he's, kind of
Yeah. He
bummed
knows
out.
he's in trouble then if that's what it is because he's just a wedding singer. So,
Yeah.
he
He's like, "I'm
doesn't
in
think he
trouble."
can ever own up to that.
Yep.
So the next morning, Holly is making breakfast and Julia is severely hungover. And according to Holly, she had a pretty much a bottle of rum. So, but Julia wants to really know what happened with Robbie because she is jealous. She might as well be
Mhm.
the color green because she's jealous. But Holly just explains to her, "Well, we just kissed and that's it. But let me tell you something, girl. He does not seem too fond of your little fiance there. Maybe he's a little jealous." And you can just definitely tell that Julia is just like, "Oh, like he wants to know about me. Like he wants to know about my life. Like, he cares about me." And Holly's like, "But don't worry, girl. I told him the reason that you're marrying Glenn." And she's just like, "Well, what did you tell him? Like,
Mhm. What is
I
the
don't know
reason?
if yeah, like, I don't know if that's the specific reason." And Holly's like, "Oh, because you love him, of course. And then with Glenn, you'll have security." And Julia says, "That is not why I am marrying him."
And Holly goes, "Then why are you?"
She don't know.
She doesn't have an answer. She
She
just
don't
puts her
know.
head down because she's severely hungover. So after hearing what Holly had said, that every woman wants is money, security, Robbie's gone into the city and he's trying to get a job at a bank with zero experience.
Experience and
Yeah,
anything.
literally. And this is Kevin Nealon. He's from Saturday Night Live. He's been in many of the Adam Sandler
Adam Sandler.
movies.
Yeah, he's in every Happy Gilmore movie or
Yeah.
what's the whatever it's called, you know what I'm talking about.
And so he's like, "Do you have any experience?" He's like, "No, I don't, sir. But I like money I have a little bit of it, and I'd like to have more." And he's like, "Okay, I think we're done here." And he's like,
Yeah.
Please, sir, I need this
Can I
job to,
just get a
like"
business card?
Yeah, "I need this job to impress a girl." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "Can I just get some business cards?" And he's like, We're done here. Get out." And he's like, 10 singing lessons for 1 business card." He's like, "Okay, you need to
He's
leave
like,
now." And he's
"Leave.
like, "Yes."
Security."
It's like, "Okay." Oh, poor thing. So Julia stops by Rosie's to see if Robbie is there. Uh, she Rosie says, "Well, he's not here because he wants to make money. He doesn't have time for lessons that pay in meatballs." It shows, so Julia's kind of like, "What? He said that? Like that's
Yeah, that
weird."
doesn't
Okay.
sound like him.
Yeah, and she's holding something and she's like, "Okay, well, I'll see if I can find him at his house." So Julia's waiting on the steps of the sister's house, and Robbie comes in and he pulls up and they're talking and she's like, "Well, what were you doing? Why aren't you at Rosie's?" And he's like, "Well, I got to better my situation. I can't be doing lessons for meatballs and I need to get money. There's money out there and I need to get my hands on it." And Julia's like, "Well, that's kind of selfish. And he's like, "Well, there's a lot of money out there and I'm getting my hands on it. And I can't live like this. And she's like, "Well, you're above material bullshit." And he says, "I don't know. We are living in a material world and I'm a material girl or boy." Tells Julia, "You're into material shit. You're marrying Glenn because he has money." Because that is what Holly told him. you
Yeah.
know. So, so Julia's pissed, which I would be too,
Yeah.
and she throws the papers up in the air and she's like, "Asshole." And she leaves and he looks and it's handmade music sheets that says
Yeah.
music and lyrics by Robbie Hart. And he
Yeah.
goes, "Oh my God, I am an asshole. She made me a gift. Oh my God, I am an asshole."
Yeah.
And then here comes his nephew. "You're
Yeah.
going to the mental institution." And he's
You
like,
know,
"Beat it."
and earlier in the movie too, like, the 2 nephews get together and they're like, "We heard that you're going to the mental institution." And
Institution.
then the other one goes, "Cuckoo's nest, cuckoo's nest." Nervous breakdown, nervous breakdown. Like, it's just so
He's
funny.
like, "Who's saying that?" And they're like, "Everybody."
Everybody's been saying that. Everybody, you only know your mom and your dad.
Yeah, right, exactly. So now Robbie is completely just
Yeah, he's defeated. He
he's
really
defeated.
is just not having a good time at all. And Robbie goes to the town bar and he sees Sammy there and then this lovely old man that they befriend at the bar. And Robbie for once in the movie is getting drunk. Like he is not a drinker, and Julia also was not really ever a drinker. Like she was always drinking Coke or something like that. And
Mhm.
that's what Robbie would do as well. But now obviously he's really going through it and he is drinking like a freaking sailor. And he tells Sammy, basically that he was right. Like, I want to be just like you. Teach me your ways of just being with women, a different chick every single night. I can't do this love thing. And Sammy's like, dude, this is not you. Like, you're in love with Julia, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. But I'm not happy. Like, I'm not happy being with a different chick every single night. I'm not happy. Nobody wants to see these cool guys, that are getting with chicks every night when they're freaking 50 and getting old and hitting on these chicks.
Yeah.
So it gets tiring after a long time, basically.
Yeah, because he says, "I idolized guys like the Fonz and Vinnie Barbarini or Barbarino," which is John Travolta. And we all know who the Fonz is. I don't need to say that.
Yeah.
And he says, "Their shows got canceled. You know why? Because nobody wants to see a 50-year-old man hitting on chicks."
Mhm.
And he says, "I'm not happy because all I want is for someone to hold me and tell me that everything will be all right." And here comes
And
the
they're
older
old
gentleman
man.
and he holds him and he goes, "Everything's gonna be all right."
So cute.
Um, and then Sammy tells him, "Look, if you found someone you can love, you can't let it get away." And Robbie's like, "You're right." And Sammy goes, "Don't tell anybody what I said. Don't ever tell anybody what I said." And he's like, "Okay." And this is when Julia is at her house with her mom And Julia is like, "Mom, is Glenn the right guy?" And she's like, "Of course he is, honey. He's rich." The typical mom. He's
Okay, Christina
rich and he's
Pickles.
handsome because that's all that matters. And he's like, "And he's got you, so he's got everything." And she's like, "Well, like, I've been hanging out with the wedding singer." And she's like, "You're not leaving Glenn for the wedding singer. Like, no, that's not happening.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
watch me." Don't tell me don't
Watch
tell
me.
me how to
Adam
feel.
Sandler
Yeah.
in prime, sign me up, bro.
Yes. So the mom leaves and Julia's in her dress and she's like in the mirror. She's talking. She's like talking. She's like, "Hi, my name is Mrs. Glenn Gulia." And she's like,
My name
"Hi,
is
I'm
Julia
Julia
Sullivan.
Gulia." And when she says that, she starts crying. Like
I
she's
would
so
too, girl. If
upset.
my name was
Yes.
Julia Gulia, I would
She like
cry too.
she like laughs, cries, and then she says, "Hi, my name is Mrs. Robbie Hart." And then she's like, "Robbie and I are so excited that you could come to our wedding." And she's like, just like absolutely beaming,
Enamored with it and just
yes, and so happy while she's calling herself Mrs. Robbie Hart. Robbie is on his way to Julia's house to tell her his feelings. And when he gets towards her house, he sees her in the mirror while she's saying, "Mrs. Robbie Hart," and she's happy. And she's like, "Oh, we love you. Thank you for coming." He sees her so happy in her wedding dress that he thinks that she's happy about marrying Glenn when that's not the case. But of course, he doesn't know that. And so he opts not to tell her how he feels because he doesn't want to do this like a day before her wedding or 2 days before the
yeah.
wedding or whatever. He doesn't want to do that to her. And so he decides to drown his sorrows at the town bar. And
Bar.
mhm,
But this time he's brought his own liquor from the liquor store into the bar, which we know is a huge no-no.
and Sammy's like, "Oh, give Robbie another shot." And he's like, "No, I already brought my own." And then the bartender's like, "Robbie, you can't have that in here." And he goes, "No problem, I'll just go outside." So as Robbie goes outside, the three of them head outside, and Robbie runs into Glenn, who is having his bachelor party
Ugh.
pregame. And he's got the frat bro guy with him, and he's got, like, 2 other frat bros, and there's, like, 10 women with him. He's got a woman in each arm, being a turd that he is,
Yeah.
and, he's like, "Oh, look, it's the wedding singer." Glenn's excited to see him and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come inside for the pre-bachelor party drinks?" You know? And, um, he says Robbie says, "You're ridiculous, man. Stop all this cheating shit, moron. She's a good girl." And then Glenn's face changes really quick. He goes, "Hey, asswipe, don't go snitching to Julie about this. I know you have a little crush on her. You gotta face the facts that she wants to sleep with a real man, not some poor singing orphan."
Yeah,
And
kick the guy while
then
he's down.
yeah. And then Robbie goes to punch him because Robbie is super drunk. He's like, "I beat up some kid in 5th grade and I beat the shit out of that kid. So let's see how this goes, and that went pretty well. Or let's see how this goes." And he goes to punch Glenn, and the older gentleman cuts in front of me. He's like, "Eh." And it's like the
I used to be much stronger.
stronger. Yeah.
He's so
And
cute.
as Robbie's looking at the older gentleman, "What are you doing?" Glenn sucker punches him. He's not even looking at Glenn because
No.
Glenn's a pussy and he totally had to sucker punch him because he's a little bitch. And Robbie goes down, of course. And Glenn, what is he? Glenn says, sorry. Glenn goes, "Why don't you write a song about this? You can call it 'I Got Punched in the Nose for Sticking My Nose in Other People's Business.'" You know,
What an
hilarious. And all the girls are like,
yeah, because 'cause they're getting paid $100 an
because they're,
hour.
yeah,
Ew.
yeah. And then Robbie stumbles home drunk to find Linda waiting on one of the lawn chairs. She tells Robbie she misses him and wants him back. And he says, "I don't want to be alone." And then she's like, "You're not alone. Linda's back." And she goes like this. And then Robbie just falls and passes out on the lawn. And she's like,
Yeah, he's so drunk. Linda's just like, "Oh, okay,
"Hmm."
anyways."
So what happens the
Um,
following morning?
yeah, so the next morning, Julia is going to Robbie's place and she wants to talk to him. She wants to probably talk to him about her feelings and things like this. And Linda answers the freaking door just in a Van Halen t-shirt. That's it. And she tells Julia that because obviously, hello, hold on. So Julia is obviously looking for Robbie. And when what's her name?
Linda.
Linda opens
Mhm.
you're a bitch. When Linda
Yeah.
opens the door, she can't even be bothered to remember Julia's real name. Like, Julia says her name, and she's like, "Oh, like, he's indisposed, Jennifer, like, he's in the shower." And Julia's like, "Oh, this bitch must be Linda." And she goes, "Yeah, that's me, Robbie's fiancé," and she has the ring back on her finger. Don't understand where that came from. And she just has to ask, "Who are you?" And Julia introduces herself saying that I'm Julia Sullivan. Can you just tell him that I stopped by, anything like that? And Linda literally slams a door on her and says, "Sure thing, Jennifer," and closes the door immediately. Like,
Yeah.
ugh, what a sleaze.
And Julia walks away sad because she's like, "Oh, he's back with Linda," so she doesn't wanna mess that up, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah. Linda Linda tries to wake up Robbie. Robbie's passed out this whole time by singing "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go," and she's in the Van Halen t-shirt. And he's like, "Linda, what are you doing here?" And then she grabs her hair, her terrible hair, and she's like, "You passed out, so I took care of you." And he's like, what? Why did you take care of me?" And she's like, "I realized I was wrong, and I want to take care of you for good. I can learn to live with the fact that you're just a wedding singer." And he's like, "You can learn to live with it? That's not how this works.
yeah.
Maybe, yeah." And she's like, "Maybe we should talk about this when you're feeling better." And he's like, "Hey, psycho, I'm not going to feel better about this. It's over. Now, please get out of my Van Halen shirt before you jinx the band and they break up."
I can't.
And then she goes, "Oh, okay. So you're still pissed about that wedding thing." And then Robbie just slams the door and she's just holding her shoes in her
Yeah, she's
dress and she just
blood.
like walks away mad.
Uh, so because of this dumb encounter with Linda, now Julia's rushing home and she has to wake Glenn up because Glenn just had his little bachelor extravaganza party with
Mhm.
his like 16 girlfriends around his arm. And she is waking him up and is like, "I want to go to Las Vegas right now. Just want to get married. Just you and me. Let's go. Let's blow this popsicle stand." And, Glenn is like, "All right, great. I thought you never asked. Like, I thought you wanted this big wedding, but hey, what am I gonna say? I'm not gonna say nothing. Now I
Mhm.
get to elope and then I can continue cheating on you." And we cut to Robbie at Rosie's anniversary party
Mhm.
because Robbie's kind of back in it, right? Like, he obviously has apologized to Rosie and all those things. And
Yeah.
he had been, helping Rosie with her voice lessons so then she could serenade her little husband. And
So
she starts
cute.
to sing the "Till There Was You" song that we heard
Mhm.
earlier in the movie. And it shows kind of both Robbie thinking of Julia and then kind of cutting back of Julia just kind of thinking of Robbie. And Julia, we see, is getting on the plane with Glenn, and all you hear is that, "All right, well," um, like, oh, like, Glenn's like, "Do you wanna do any gambling or anything before we go?" And she's like, "Nope, I just wanna get married.
Yeah.
Let's
She's
just
like, "I just
go."
want to get married." Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so while they're thinking of each other, Robbie's hearing her voice in his head and her saying, "I just always envisioned the right one being someone I can grow old with." And then he looks at Sammy and Sammy looks at him and goes, "I know, I'll go get the car." And then Robbie says goodbye to Rosie, who says, "Go get her." And then what does Rosie proceed to do?
She start she starts to sing The Rapper's Delight, I said a hip, a hop, a hippie to the
Sugar
hippie to the
hugging,
hip,
yeah.
hip hop. Yes, like, it's amazing.
She's great at it.
She is doing a really great job.
Mhm.
I don't think her and Robbie practiced that, but I love that for
No.
her. And this is when Julia and Glenn are boarding, and she just wants to get straight to the point. She just wants to get there, get married, that's it. She doesn't want any funny business. Then we cut back to Robbie, and I think it's Robbie, Holly, and Sammy all in the car
Yeah.
together, and they are on the way to the airport, and Robbie has an idea for a song, so he's gonna write it on little napkins and anybody asking for pens and things like that, so then he can start writing out his song idea that he has for his lovely Julia.
Yeah. Yeah, because Holly was like, she saw Linda in her underwear. Are you guys back together? He's like, no, God, no. And she's like, oh, well, she's on her way to Vegas right now, literally flying right now to go there. And he's like, well, of course we got to stop it. So they're all like mad rushing, and Julia and Glenn, they board. And then it shows Robbie, Holly, and Sammy at the ticket agent whose hair looks like the Flock of Seagulls guy.
You look like
Exactly.
Seagulls? No, but I can see you do.
And he's like, I need a ticket to Las Vegas. And he says, I have one ticket left for today, but it's only in first class. Otherwise, you'll have to wait till tomorrow. And he looks at he's like, tomorrow will be too late. And he goes to Sammy, can I borrow your credit card? And Sammy's like, are you going to pay me back? And he's like, no, but if you don't give me your credit card, I'm going to tell everybody what she said back at the bar.
But he was
And he
just
did.
opening his heart to him.
Yes.
Aw.
So he does.
Poor
But
Sammy.
then you notice that Holly goes to Sammy like, oh my God, that's sweet of you. And she touches his shoulder and they're getting a little
Like a little
so
flirty.
he might get Holly out by giving the credit card.
Yeah.
So, they would make a cute couple.
Yeah.
Yep. So Robbie is on a plane to Las Vegas on first class.
Yeah. And we cut to Coach on a plane as well because Julia is thinking about what Robbie said earlier in the film, saying like, "Oh, well, I knew that she wasn't the one when she wouldn't let me sit in the window seat, right?" And guess who's not in the window seat? Julia. Julia is in the freaking aisle seat, and she asked Glenn if she can have the window seat because she's never been to Vegas before and he has and she wants to see it. And he goes, well, let me do you one better. Why don't I just let you lean over me when we cross the strip? It's just girl, ew, you are so disgusting.
Because she has smaller arms and he always gets hit by the beverage cart.
Yep.
And then she's like, but I've never seen the bright lights of Vegas. And he's like, He doesn't like I'll tell you what you can do. You can lean over me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, go fuck yourself, seriously.
Literally. Meanwhile, our King Robbie is in first class,
Mhm.
and he literally has no idea what's going on. Granted, I also would not know
neither.
what to do here
Yeah.
anyways, but, he gets handed, a hot towel, and he literally, stuffs in his shirt like he's about to eat, a crab boil or something.
Yeah.
He just has, a napkin in his shirt, and he's, looking around, the stewardess is, pointing to another guy, and he's, dabbing his face with it, and Robbie's like, "Oh, okay, thanks," and is, dabbing it and then, throws it back on the plate because he doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then he just notices from a couple seats ahead of him that there's somebody sleeping on the plane, and that very somebody is the Billy Idol.
Billy Idol. Yes. And since this is 85, this is the height of Billy Idol. So this is,
Mhm.
the one of the flight attendants come by with champagne and he's like, would you like some champagne, sir? And he's like, oh, how much is it? And he's like, it's free. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah. And then he's like, is that Billy Idol? And he goes, I believe it is, sir. And he goes, oh my God, this first class thing is so great. He goes, but I shouldn't drink. And he says, I fell in love with this girl and she's going to marry an idiot. So I'm on my way to Vegas to stop them.
And then this sweet older lady in the seats in
Who's
front
knitting.
of him turns around and goes that's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
And she's like, where are they getting married at? And he's like, well, see, that's the thing. I don't know where they're getting married, but I'm going to run around town to find them, And meanwhile, it cuts to Glenn looking out the window. He's like, out the window. Why poor Julia's just sitting there like this.
Yeah.
And here comes the beverage cart and it hits her elbow. And I swear I feel it. Every time her elbow gets hit, I
Yeah.
feel that. I could
Right
just
in the
feel
funny
that feeling.
bone.
She's like, and what does Glenn say? Are you okay, honey? No, he goes, ooh, next time the cart comes around, will you grab me Heineken?
Thanks. God. Yeah, so now back to Robbie. He has a group of people surrounding him now. He's telling everybody in first class, and they're hanging on his every single word about him stopping Julia's wedding. And that is including the now awake Billy Idol. He is
Mhm.
thoroughly invested. And he's telling the whole story about, okay, well, Julia came over to his house to, say that she had some feelings for her because that's what he heard from Holly. And of course, Linda opened the door wearing nothing but his Van Halen t-shirt, and you just see her Billy Idol hang on every single word, go, "No way!" Uh, and now Robbie's just saying, like, "I don't know what to do, like, she's gonna get married, he's gonna ruin her life, like, she deserves so much better." And Billy Idol gets it. He says, "Glenn doesn't deserve her. All he cares about are possessions. These fancy cars, CD players, even women are possessions to him." And this is the iconic line that might be the second most used line that we say all the time, maybe the first, I'm not sure. But Robbie says, "See, Billy Idol gets it. I don't know why she doesn't."
And then in walks the flight attendant. She's very, very pretty, and she tells the first class, because they're all buddies, she's like, "You won't believe that some guy that thinks he's Don Johnson just asked me to be part of the Mile High Club. He said I was grade A top choice meat." And Robbie's like,
Ooh, yeah, this stems something in Robbie because
"Where
he remembers that night at Spanky's when he heard that before. And who did he hear that before from? Glenn.
good old Glenn,
Yeah.
fancy Glenn there." Robbie's like, "Can you show me the guy?" And, before he does that, the older lady that was named, she's like, "What's the Mile High Club?" And then Billy Idol just goes and just laughs.
Yeah, Billy's having time.
And he's like, "Many times, many, many, millions and millions of
For
miles."
sure.
So the flight attendant opens the curtain and shows like, "Oh, he's there, right there." And he's like, "Oh my God." He's like he says, he opens the curtain and Glenn, he goes, "Oh my God, the Mile High guy is Glenn." And everyone's like, "No way." And he's like, "You guys got to help me." And then Billy Idol goes, "Roy, yeah."
Yeah, and we just see Julia reading a Rolling Stone magazine with the icon Billy Idol on the cover. So clearly amazing. And we just hear like the voiceover speaker at the cabins, and it's Billy Idol who is doing these things. And he says that one of our first class passengers would like to sing a song inspired by one of our coach passengers. And this gets Julia's attention. She's like, okay. And then Robbie starts singing the most iconic song from this movie, Grow Old with You. And Julia just knows from the sound of his angelic voice that it is Robbie. And Glenn, of course, is like snoring in the corner. He's just like such a,
Yeah.
I hate him.
Yes. Uh, then Robbie comes through the curtain and sings to Julia because, of course, she knows it's him. They're both so in love. She's so in love. And Glenn's like, "What's this guy doing here?" And he tries to get over Julia to get into the aisle to get to Robbie. And the one male flight attendant goes, "I'm sorry, sir. I have to serve the beverages now." And he's like pushing him.
Pushing
And
him
then,
with the cart.
yeah. And then he goes across the row of 5 because it goes 2, 5, and 2. Goes across the row of 5 people, and then he hits another card, and it's Billy Idol's like, "Chicken or fish, sir?" And Glenn goes, "You better get out of my way, Billy, or you're gonna get hurt." And Billy goes, "Oh, yeah?" And then a big biker guy gets up in front of Billy Idol, and he's like, "Don't you talk to Billy Idol that way." And Billy's in the back like overlays like his shoulder, like, "Yeah."
Yeah. And the biker then pushes the cart back, and then the blonde flight attendant that he hit on pushes him right in the restroom and then locks him in the bathroom, and everybody's just, like, having a time. They're like, "Yes,
Yes.
finally, get this skis ball out of here."
Yes.
And Robbie wraps up the song, and it's just, ugh, it's so amazing. And, Julia just tells him that that was the most beautiful song she's ever heard, and Robbie does this cute little confession. He says, "I have a confession to make. That song was about you." And Julia's just, like, giggling, and Robbie says, "I'm in love with you," and Julia responds with, "I'm so in love with you." Ugh, and they're about to kiss each other, but our lovely lad, Billy Idol, kind of interrupts them. He's like, "You know what? That song wasn't too bad. I'm gonna tell my record company guys about him and, see if I can get you a deal." And Robbie's like, Can I kiss her first, please?
Oh, yeah. Do what you gotta do. That's what he
Yeah,
says.
yeah.
And then they kiss, and then it cuts to the same kissing, and they're at their wedding together. And the wedding singer that's singing True by Spandau Ballet is none other than Steve Buscemi's character, who has learned to play the guitar. Looks like he
Yes,
got some therapy,
got
has
some
minded his anger.
lessons.
Yes, and he's singing wonderfully. And, he's like, this much is true. And then he's like, Robbie and
Robbie and
Julia.
Julia.
The end. That is the
Yeah,
wedding singer.
ending.
So great.
I
Oh
love
my
that
God.
movie.
That I think that is definitely the most quoted movie that we have in this house. We
For
live
sure.
off of song lyrics and movie quotes.
Yeah, we
Our
do.
whole vocabulary involves that. We could literally
Yeah.
talk in song lyrics, hand movements, and movie
Yeah, that is so
movie
true.
lines. All right, so let's see what I got here. Again, IMDb. I'm generic. I just went to IMDb for this one. The film had an $18 million budget. Opening weekend, it did $18,865,080.
Nice.
So, which is good. Grossed worldwide $123,309,462. So did very well. The butterfly jean jacket Julia wears is Drew Barrymore's.
Of course.
The
She's not.
director liked it so much. He's like, that's perfect for you. Just to keep that, use that. That's a great costume thing. Carrie Fisher, Judd Apatow, and Adam Sandler worked uncredited on the script.
Wow.
So,
Those are some
yeah.
names, man.
The other person that worked on the script was the guy that played the bartender. He wrote the script.
Oh,
So,
wow.
the
Cool.
one's like, you can't bring that in here. You gotta, yeah.
Yeah. I love Adam Sandler because he does all of these cameos and like all of the things so well.
Betty White was considered for the role of Rosie. It
I
would
would
have
love
worked.
that. But the original Rosie plays an amazing Rosie.
The original Rosie is so tiny and delicate and just teeny tiny that I think she works great, especially when she does the Rapper's Delight.
Yeah.
It's so surprising. Like, oh my gosh, yes. So Sammy's limo, his front license plate reads, I am kinky, and it's IMKINKE. I am kinky is his professional limo license plate. Christopher McDonald, which you'll know as Shooter McGavin, was originally considered to play Glenn, but Adam Sandler was like, no, he's too old for Drew Barrymore. Like, no, he's 20 years older. So that was just too
and
old.
at that time, Glenn Gulia, because what was this, 98? So, yeah, so ER probably would have just, ER was 96, but he didn't go on until like season 2. So he was kind of in the height of that, and he was really young and cute on ER.
So poor the guy that plays Glenn Gulia, because here's who else they had in mind before him.
No.
Matthew Broderick. Too nice.
Ferris Bueller. Okay.
Ben Stiller. Busy with something. There's something about Mary.
Of course. Well,
He was filming that.
Isn't he married to what's her name?
Christine Taylor.
Yeah,
Yes.
Christine Taylor.
Who's Holly. David Spade, who wasn't ready because he had just filmed Black Sheep and there was like a whole bunch of crap going on. Chris Farley was, in and out of rehab. There was too much going on. David Spade's like, I can't do it. I'm not prepared for this. Jim Carrey was also considered.
I do love young Jim Carrey though.
Charlie Sheen. I don't know. I think
I could see him in that role though.
I could
Out
though.
of all of those people you just listed, I would probably see him.
Because he was in Wall Street, so he could play the like junk bonds guy. John Cryer.
Do I say that you're in junk waitressing?
Junk waitressing. John Cryer was one of them.
Oh,
Yeah, too not mean enough. I feel like he's too like nerdy.
Yeah, like he's just always
he's
ducky.
forever ducky. Yeah. Jack Black.
I love Jack Black though. But
yeah, he's too
he's too funny and nice too.
Yeah, he's too lovable. Like I feel like you can't.
Unfortunately, Jack Black is typecast as Jack Black, so sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's him.
He's typecast. Or in The Holiday, he is really good in The Holiday.
Owen Wilson,
What are we doing, people?
Yeah, I
We're
don't see
just
that at
going through
all.
the whole
But he
list.
did get Wedding Crashers, so it's not like he did bad. He got into Wedding
No,
Crashers.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah.
Dave Chappelle was also
Okay.
considered,
That's such
lightly
a weird
considered.
pull. That's such a weird
Mhm.
pull. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so they did eventually. There were other people too,
That was a
but
perfect casting then. That
yeah,
was the
but
perfect
I
casting.
yeah. But I think casting the actor that did play Glenn, he was not crazy known, like, everybody knows who Charlie Sheen was, in
Yeah.
1998, everybody knew
Yeah,
who,
for sure.
like, a lot of these people were. Where I didn't know who this Glenn Gulia guy was, and then you didn't even know until you started rewatching ER, and you're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, he's in ER!"
Yeah,
Like,
I literally was
yeah,
watching ER for the first time because I'm a Pitt person, and then I love Noah Wyle so much that I was like, "I'm gonna watch ER," and then I'm like, now I hate myself because ER is so addicting, and, but all these people are in ER, which is super cool.
yeah. So I feel like he was the perfect guy to play somebody that was a dick, where you didn't already have, you know,
Yeah,
thinking like,
like, he
"Oh,
wasn't
John
always
Cryer's Ducky, he can't be
yeah,
mean."
like, he was never typecast as anybody, like,
Yeah,
I can't be mad at Ferris Bueller, you know what I'm saying?
right.
Like, I can't
Mhm.
hate Ferris Bueller, so
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what, Adam Sandler was like, "No, he's too nice."
yeah.
Um, and of course, Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore, this was their first of 3 movies together, which was also they did 50 First Dates and Blended.
Yeah, and they
Yes.
have the best chemistry on I believe that they literally have the best chemistry for any romance. Like, those 2 are just ugh, I don't know. I love it.
And I also read, don't know if this I did, I read randomly off of Google search, that nobody wanted to hire Drew Barrymore at the time because, she had that drug problem. She was kind of a wild child. She did the whole David Letterman, here's my boobs thing, um, that whole stuff. Adam Sandler's like, no, I want to take a chance on her. Like, I think she's a great person. And this kind of gave her back her sweet girl. She's just raised by terrible freaking parents.
Yeah,
She was
anytime
definitely,
yeah,
yeah.
anytime it's a situation where you have to be emancipated from parents, it's just ugh.
When you're in Studio 54 at the age of like 7,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, so he gave her and I think that was great. And of course, Glenn's car is, yes, a DeLorean, which is the same model that was in Back to the Future.
Of course.
For the Julia role, there was like 70 people mentioned. So I did like
The top
the
5 or
top
something.
ones. Natalie Portman,
Okay.
I could see that.
I could.
It's 98. J-Lo, no
No,
freaking
I don't see
way.
that.
Absolutely F not. Jennifer Aniston, which I could see because they had good chemistry in,
Just go with
what
it.
just go with it.
Mhm. That
But
is a
she
great
was but she wasn't like her
but she
friends.
was also Rachel.
Yeah.
Because this is 98, so this is, like, heat of Friends.
Yeah, Jennifer Garner,
Okay. She's girl
uh,
next door, I could see that.
yeah, Julia Roberts, no way.
Yeah, no, she's Pretty Woman to me.
Yeah, Molly Ringwald, same thing, I don't see her in this type of
Stop,
movie.
yeah, stop trying to cast her in all these
And Pam Anderson, just because she's gorgeous, I think is
well,
the
duh,
whole
queen, but she just yeah, love her. Love her
so
and Liam Neeson together.
Julia's character was originally written with, like, not a lot of depth,
Mhm,
and the writer that wrote it gave it to Carrie Fisher and was like, "Give Julia depth."
mhm,
And she's like, like, all you gotta do is make her smart and, likable, and it's fine, like, that's all you gotta do.
yeah,
And, so her character, Carrie Fisher gave her that. Made her more than just, like, some dumb girl. It's like, "I'm marrying a boy that's rich, yay."
yeah,
You know? Um, so the chef, the one that, Holly showed her boobs to for
yeah,
30 minutes, not her finest 30 minutes, is Robert Smigel, who, yes, is the creator of Triumph, the, insult comic dog.
there you go.
Yeah, and then he did on SNL, the Saturday TV Funhouse with the ambiguous gay duo. If you remember, that was in the 90s. 90s was a great time for SNL because that was the Adam Sandler, David Spade, all that era. Norm Macdonald, rest in peace, that guy.
Yeah, oh my god, Norm.
Yeah. So that's what I have. Also, Julia's mom. Did she look familiar?
Yeah, Christina Pickles.
Yeah,
Right.
she's
I knew that for a fact because I'm
good.
also obsessed with Friends, so I was like,
Yes.
"Oh my god, the Geller's mom."
Yes, she's Monica and Ross's mom. that was that. Yeah. So that is The Wedding Singer. We are going to be doing, we did just wrap up Florida Man. And I think I said on Florida Man that we'll be doing Wedding Singer shortly. So ignore that.
Disregard.
Yeah, ignore that because I'm going to put this out way before, before Florida Man
Yeah.
because we're a little late on this one. And our next movie that we're going to do, we're going to go back to our 80s roots, and it's going to be Hello Again. If you haven't
Yay!
seen it, it's one of those
So
like
good.
just cute 80s.
Feel good.
Just
Cute
there's,
mode.
don't look into it too much. It has Shelley Long in it, and she's from Cheers. She was in a lot of movies in the 80s, but I think best known from Cheers, and I just love her. Or Troop Beverly Hills. If you're asking me why we're not doing that one, it's because I like Hello Again better.
I love
I
Hello
think it's adorable and I love it. So I
Again.
actually truly do love that movie. So that's what we're going to be doing next. Yeah. So, anything you could do, help her grow our channel.
Yes.
I think we got like a new subscriber and I was like jumping up and down. I was so
Yay!
excited. So to the new subscriber, thank you so much. Even if you're like, oh shit, I hit the button on accident. Thank you so much. We appreciate the oops
Literally.
crap, I hit the button. Hey, that works for us. I mean my own husband, he doesn't even listen. He's like, well, I hear you edit it. I'm like, that's not the same thing. Could you just listen?
Girl.
For spite, for my spiders out there, go ahead and like it, just like it's show my husband.
Yeah.
So if you want to see us in person, like on the screen, we are on YouTube and Spotify. If you don't want to see our faces, we are also on Apple Podcasts as well as some other podcasts, but those are the three main ones. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and those who've stuck with us. We really appreciate that. We will continue to appreciate that. I can't say it enough. We really do appreciate it. We love to do this. We'll continue to do this, even if we only have just a few subscribers. We'll keep doing it. We don't care. So, but we would love to grow. We would love to grow our channels so that we could have more opportunities to do some really fun stuff. But we will do the best we can for now. And, hope you guys enjoy everything. So thanks again for tuning in to Butterscotch Rewatch. I am Katie, the Gen X mom, and
I'm Ireland, the Gen Z daughter.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.